What is up YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the general stock market dip. I'm also going to be talking about the way Nio stock is moving and some Nio news. The stock market has been performing extremely well in 2020 and in the first month of 2021, especially after the March crash. Like 2020 was one of the best years we've seen in a very long time. And so the first month of 2021, so January, the market continued with its momentum, and even for the first half of February, the market was just going to new heights. But recently, it does look like we are in a correction, and some people are saying it is a crash, but the stock market isn't actually down that much. Because a true stock market crash is actually a 20+% drop, and a correction is usually 10% drop, and we might see something like that. But there's no reason to actually fear corrections or dips. I know it does make your account look red, but stocks can only continue going up. If you look at the stock market graphs over a long period of time, so if you look at the Dow Jones 10-year graph or 30-year graph, you see that the stock market is up overall over the long term. However, it doesn't go up in a straight line. There are huge dips, but again, there are huge rallies like one we saw in 2020. Now let's talk a little bit about why the stock market is down. One reason for the dip was the fear of Jerome Powell raising interest rates, but again, he did assure us that he probably won't. Another reason for the stock market dip is because of the rising rates of bonds. And bonds is just a loan to the government, and so whenever you give loans, you get paid a certain amount of interest. And because a bond is just a form of a loan to the government, the risk is very less, especially when you compare it to stocks. But the return is very low as well. However, the institutions and wealth funds that just want to preserve the money they have, they're moving their money from stocks to bonds. And overall, it just seems like a panic sell-off, because once a stock goes down, more people want to sell because they see in the red, and that leads to even lower prices. And valuations have been high, especially over the past 2 weeks, so it is good that we see a correction and valuations come a bit back down to earth. But there really is no fundamental reason. It does seem like the economy is recovering and COVID cases are down, so overall the economy seems really good. And again, this is just a general market sell-off, and this does happen from time to time. It's not particular to any other stock, but if you are in the market, you should be prepared for these type of corrections. And so the stock market could go lower or it could rebound. No one really knows, and that's why it's impossible to predict the stock market. So that's why people say you should invest for the long term, because short term is very unpredictable. So now I'm going to be talking about some of the moves I made during this correction. So I bought 3 stocks, which are Immersion, Corsair Gaming, and Nio. So Immersion, ticker symbol IMMR, is a very small company with a market cap of $270 million. So Immersion is a gaming company in a sense, because it has patents to its haptic technology, and this technology is used in the PS5 controllers, and it's used in other devices as well. And so they basically license this technology to other companies because they have patents, and in a sense they just collect royalties from them. And I bought this stock at around $10 per share. The next company that I bought is Corsair Gaming, and this has the ticker symbol CRSR, and this is a $3.29 billion company. This is again another gaming company, and they basically have gaming hardware ranging from gaming mouses, gaming PCs, gaming chairs, etc. And the third stock that I bought is Nio, and I bought this at the $42 to $46 ranges, and we will be talking about it a bit later in the video. Now, I didn't buy any of these stocks too heavily during this correction, and I will be talking about Corsair Gaming and Immersion more in depth in another video. But one thing I do want to add is during market corrections, it is usually high growth stocks that get hit, like Nio, and that is because they're being valued based on what they'll do to 3-5 years, and so they're more prone to volatility and sell-off. And if you are owning a lot of high growth stocks in your portfolio might be down a lot, but don't panic sell, because why would you buy a stock and then sell it right when it drops? So like, why would you invest into a company that you believe in for the long term, and why would you sell if it drops for one day, especially if there's no fundamental change in the business? So with these drops in some of these companies in Nio and Tesla, don't just panic sell. Understand why you bought into the business and whether the trajectory is still the same over the next 3 to 5 years. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk particularly about Nio stock and the way it's trading. So Nio over the past 3 months has actually been trading sideways, hovering around $50, and over the past 2 weeks, it's actually fallen to around $42 at its lowest point. This is just because of the overall market sell-off. It really has nothing to do with Nio. But what you have to understand is, even though the stock hasn't been doing much over the past 3 months, it has done a lot over the past year, as it was as low as $2 about 1.5 years ago, and now it's close to $50, and at some point it was as high as $60, so it definitely moved a lot. So when you are buying the stock, understand it is trading at a huge premium, so during market sell-offs, it will probably crash harder, and it is also considered overvalued value just based on the numbers today. But over the next 3 to 5 years, with the way they're planning to scale their automobile business, plus the way they're planning to scale the energy side of their business, I definitely think the stock price will be a lot higher in the next 3 to 5 years. But don't be buying the stock expecting it to go to over $100 in the next year, and I've been seeing a lot of these price targets and it's not too realistic. And putting a price target of $100 for Nio is putting the market cap around $140 billion, and for a company that's producing 100,000 vehicles, that is very high. So when buying into the stock, don't be surprised if over the next year the stock doesn't move much, and I'm not saying it won't. There's a very high chance it will, because during bull markets, these are the high growth stocks that go up a ton, and we saw that over 2020. So what I'm trying to say here is don't buy Nio for a short-term profit. Personally, I think there are better companies out there for a short-term flip. However, over the long term, I think Nio is one of the best stocks you can hold. And so what I'm planning to do is near the $40 to $45 ranges, I'll add slowly, and if it drops below that to the 30s, I'll add aggressively. And that's just called dollar cost averaging, so as it goes down, I'll add more to get my average cost down. So now let's talk about some Nio news and some potential catalysts which can either move the stock up a lot or down a lot in the short term. So the first thing I want to talk about is the catalyst, which is their earnings report, which they're reporting on Monday, March 1st. So here we'll get to see their quarter 4 results, so their earnings, revenue, etc., and we'll get to see what they did as a whole in 2020. Personally, I think they'll beat it because they were expecting to do around 16,500 to 17,000 deliveries over this 3-month period, but they actually did around 17,300, and I'll go over the exact math in another video. Now, another thing they will be announcing on March 1st or March 2nd is their February delivery numbers, and these numbers will probably be lower than January and December numbers because it was Chinese New Year during this month. So Chinese New Year is a holiday in China, and during this period, Nio had to stop their operations, which means their production numbers will probably be lower than they were in January and December. However, if they do hit those December or January numbers, this will be great for the company. So personally, I think there's a high chance that they beat their revenue and earnings expectations. However, even if they do, it doesn't mean the stock price will go up. It really depends on where the market is. So if the market is still on the decline, then even if Nio does post good earnings report, then it might drop. However, if they are again recovering, then Nio will go up. For example, the company Li Auto, which is an EV company in China, and you guys have probably all heard of it, they actually posted really good quarter 4 earnings, but the stock dropped. So just look out for the earnings report. It might move the stock in a huge way, and if they do beat, then you should be more bullish on the company, but that doesn't mean the stock price will go up. Now let's talk about some other Nio news. So in January 2020, the Nio EC6, the Nio ES6, and the Nio ES8 were all in the top 20 for EV vehicle sales in China. This is great because it's showing that even Nio, even though it's a luxury vehicle that not everyone can afford, they're still doing great numbers. So just think about once they release a mass market car and more vehicles are EV, think about how much better they can do. The second big news is that Nio's William Li visits oil giant SINOPEC, and this is just adding to the speculation that they might start going into agreement where Nio's battery swap stations can be built at SINOPEC's gas station. But again, this is all speculation and nothing is confirmed, and I already made a video on it which I will be linking in the description below. And so with that being said, overall I'm bullish on Nio. As it continues to dip, I'll just add more, and during this market correction, just have stocks you have in mind that you want to add and don't panic sell. And also be ready for even more market volatility. And with that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a like and subscribe. Also comment down below what videos you'd like to see, and thank you for watching.